Well, good afternoon. How are you? My name's Keegan. And if you can't tell, it's a nice enough day today that I'm able to actually go for a walk, which is nice considering the past few days I haven't been able to do that. So, what am I interested in talking about today? Well, what is the cost of resistance? You know, um, and I mean kind of literally, what is the cost? I'll give you an example. There's an event going on in DC for about a week. And I think these things are important, but someone like me, and most of the people like me, they're not going to be able to get there. They're not going to be able to make it there, Like, in my case, I have no way there. Most people these days do have a problem with making it to places. So not only can I not add my face to the crowd of people standing against injustices, but anything I would do that I was there, like anything. Unfortunately, the problem with the great masses of poor people is that one of the only things they have to offer is themselves, their bodies, their labor, their voice. I can't donate to any of these causes. I barely can afford anything myself for my life. I can't make it to a lot of these places. And so what happens in the eventual outcome if we do have to fight back in a very true sense of those words? A lot of poor people can't afford a weapon, Oh, hold up, I've got a little doggy. Hi, puppy. Say hello. Hi, puppy. It's okay. No? I'm gonna keep walking then. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. I forgot where I was. You're good. I like animals. So anyway, what was I saying? The cost. Okay, yeah, we're back. The cost of actually resisting something. The great masses of the people don't make a lot of money. I think I ranted in my video yesterday. Someone like me never even made over 32K. That's not take home. So, what happens if we need to arm large groups of people to resist? People can't afford a firearm. Can't afford how many bullets they would need. Alone. That's not a problem I know how to fix, especially as one who is subject to that problem, so willing to do more, so hampered by circumstance. When you consider it's difficult to find jobs too, times is tough. It ain't like it was back in the good old days of revolution. People already had little, but at least they had a musket, and they didn't have to worry. I didn't say they didn't have to worry. There are luxuries that comes with their time. There are also cons that came with their time. This is us. We have the luxury, even though it is a double-edged sword. The luxury of technology is that we can organize and communicate in an instant. The consequence is that all of that can be monitored and we can be found out in an instant. Same goes with back in the day, the colonists. They lived off the land mostly. So it was a lot easier for them to outmaneuver their opponents. We don't have that luxury now. And so you have something like what's going on in DC, where someone like me may feel that my, even if it's something as small as cleaning up after demonstrators or passing out water, or, I'm not a medical professional, but I do know, I'm certified in CPR, or at least I was. My certification's definitely expired. But it gets hot out there, somebody stops breathing, needs help. I know how to do that. I know how to stay calm under pressure. But there's a lot of people out there like me. They don't have money and resources to offer, but they have their bodies. They want to be there, they want to be involved, but they can't be involved. So it makes someone like me ask the question, if not only is, something like politics a billionaire's game, is something like resistance also a rich man's game? Is it just a rigged system completely around? And that's problematic. We don't live in a time where you can just go out and walk from one place to another in a few days' journey. Hell, there's places where if they catch you walking anywhere near a interstate, they'll detain you. It makes one feel like the only way they can be involved is if it's something right where they are right now. Well, what if where you are right now, nothing's happening? And so anything you could do, you can't do. How do you deal with that? Especially if you live in a place where you're surrounded by members of the cult. And so it's difficult to find anyone, not just who at least believes similarly as you do, like in believing in democracy, freedom, liberty, justice, those kinds of things. But not only is it difficult to find those people, but because you're surrounded by so many people who believe in the exact opposite of those things, there's also that level of distrust. But just from others, but I feel this way toward the people around me as well. I don't know who to actually believe and trust. And I am pretty blunt, so it's easy for me to determine that. I can, in the midst of a single conversation, get it around to the point where I find out what you believe in, because I'll ask you directly. I don't want to waste time building friendships with people who believe that one day I should be in a camp. Let's just skip all of that. But it's frustrating. It is very frustrating. Because even when I put in the time and do work and I have extra money, it's always got somewhere it's gotta go. If you're making like, I don't know, what's a good example? Like $450 a week, but your rent is over $1,000, even when you live with people and you're splitting your rent, you're paying like $700 a month. That's just rent. That's not utilities. That's not food. That's not gasoline. That's not anything. That's just rent. That's not entirely hypothetical. I live with family members so that we can ease the burden on all of each other. But employment is getting hard to find too. It's just so many trains in America are barreling right toward each other at the same time, from the lowest points of society to the very highest points of society. And the argument is that focus on what's right in front of you and fix that. which is, you know, that's okay. But I don't know. I just feel like I say a lot of the same things over and over again, but I feel like we're spinning our wheels. You know, I feel like there's got to be people like me all over the country. I know there's strongholds for people like me in the country, but where I am very much isolated. But there's got to be people like me peppered throughout areas like the ones I live in. And I'm not someone who has the resource. If I could bust people out, if I had a way to get a bunch of people together and take them where we need to be and do what we need to do, if I could arm people myself, I would. If I could take them to the protest myself, I would. Believe me, I would. But I don't have that ability. And then it gets, you know, the more you think about it, and these thoughts do occur to me, but I don't become a slave to these thoughts. And I'm never actually fully going to go down this road, but you do start to think to yourself, like, you know, however bad things may become, do you kind of just have to, you know, one day in the effort to help your family or protect your family, if it goes so south, do you just kind of have to forsake everyone else around you? But the problem with that thinking is that's how we get to these situations in the first place. When we all turn on each other rather than helping each other as if we were a brother and sister. But I am glad to be walking again today. I am glad to be able to at least do this. At minimum, it's therapeutic for me, and at most, somebody will find some sort of camaraderie in me and see themselves in some degree of what I have to say, because I feel like a lot of the people that we see all the time are people of means, and I'm not someone of means. I'm someone who's probably doing worse off than almost anyone who could see this video. But I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it with my whole ass chest because I believe it. So, again, my name is Keegan. So far, even though this is only the 6th video, it is great talking. And be safe.